Let me check. It says we're live, so I'm thinking we are. And we are, in fact, live. Awesome. All right. Hello, everyone. Ace here. Welcome to the live stream. Today, we are, of course, going to be going and doing some Star Wars Empire. But first, well, before we do that, I'm sure if you're a Warhammer 40k fan, you know what we're going to be covering in the immediate time. Ilya says, boo. Yeah, all right. Welcome to the stream, Ilya. But anyways, so today, let's start off by looking at the Templin Institute. They have, in fact, released their video. It is already getting ratioed, and a little over an hour after they released it, on why they think female Space Marines are necessary. So yeah, that they have done. They have failed to actually answer the question I asked them, which is, with regards to yesterday's video, we know that demanding female Space Marines is, according to the logic of the far left, transphobic. So I asked them what their response was to that, and they have failed to answer, even though I provided the little quote that proves that I have, in fact, read or watched the entire video. But they've also now had to start defending other stuff. Like, this guy here says, now make a video about how we need loyalist gene stealers. Now that he's trying to figure out how that can actually be canonically sound.
I thought you were making a joke.
No, it was not. No, he is now being reduced to have to argue that loyalist gene stealers are a possibility in the Warhammer 40k universe. And the reason is... Oh, look! I Crave the Void is having to try to help him with this. I Crave the Void, who's made a fool of himself numerous times on this channel already, but...
Oh, my... Look.
So, yeah.
No. Just no.
But that's the problem with saying that there is no established lore because some stuff is vague, therefore everything is vague. It leads to stuff like this, where he has to say, well, maybe it is possible, after all, for a gene stealer to be loyal to the Emperor.
It doesn't matter, because it's a parking Seno. The rest of the Empire will destroy it.
Yeah, yes they would. The rest of the Imperium would not stand for that at all. But yet he has to defend that because of the position he took. Here's one.
Hold that.
Oh,
the Gene Stealers will do what the Emperor most hates.
Wait a second. I got something else here. Alright, so another person that says, now make a video about how the Dark Eldar are actually very wholesome. Let's see what his response is. That might be tough. Note that he's not saying it's impossible, he's just saying it's tough. He says, I'm sure someone could take a solid crack at it. Maybe you'd have to go down the route that there is no objective morality, so no one can be very truly be evil. Except that's exactly the argument he is making here, when he is arguing that everything is subjective. That is actually the argument he is making here.
Look. I usually play devil's advocate, you know. I can say that good and evil do not exist, so to speak. But there is still morality. Everyone has morality. Everyone sees good and evil a different way. You cannot tell me it doesn't exist. It exists, but whether it is real the same way for everyone or not is different. You cannot tell me a fucking Dark Eldar is wholesome.
He is.
If you have a book,
he's not doing a good job of it, but he is trying to make that case.
Look, you have a dog, okay? You approach a Dark Eldar. You take your eyes away from the Dark Eldar or the dog for a second, and then he's going to have a new mittens made of your fucking dog.
Mm-hmm.
How can I... Look. I am getting pissed off.
I know. Look at the bright side. At least we'll be moving away from... At least we're not going to be talking about this too long because we actually have something good to read. It's not like this is going to be High Republic where it's just pain every single second and frame the way through. At least... But yeah, the fact that he's having to say that loyalist gene stealers are a possible... Wait. Now make a video explaining why Horus was in the right. Okay, let's see what his... He just says, #Horus was right.
This has to be a motherfucking troll, man.
Ilya says, Ace is streaming together with Count Dracula as usual. Hey, you know it. The fact that he has to try to argue that Horus was right. That's you can have loyalist gene stealers, and that the Dark Eldar can be wholesome.
Look,
that just shows how weak his argument actually is when you think about it, because he has to defend some of the most ridiculous positions in the established lore.
If nothing else, those videos I will watch because I will be fucking laughing. I know. I will be mad, but I will be laughing. Because, come on, man. You cannot tell me with a straight face that a Dark Eldar is nice. Just nice. Not wholesome, not good, just nice. If they don't torture you, if they don't hurt you, if they don't stay high all the time, they die. They need to be massive assholes just to survive.
Mm-hmm.
How can you defend that?
I mean, the Dark Eldar, as far as I'm concerned, are actually supposed to be the evilest faction in the game if you actually think about it. They quite literally live off of the pain and suffering of others. I mean, you could... And it's only done to appease a god that they hate that is slowly leeching the life away from them if they don't do it.
That is their fault?
Yeah, something that they created themselves with their own debauchery.
I mean, let's go back in time. Let's look at the Eldar history. They made gods as tools. They made gods for everything, anything, and whatever they like. And one day they say, let's make a galaxy-wide orgy, let's see what happens. And they were surprised when that happened. I mean, I am pretty sure it was not intentional that they made Slanesh exist. But I mean, if you go to a war and you made a god for warfare, what do you think is going to happen if you just let it go altogether?
I'm just at a loss for words at the stupidity on display from the Template Institute. I am going to actually have to do a follow-up video where they try and explain the fact that in the comments to this video, they tried to defend loyalist gene stealers and wholesome Dark Eldar.
The more valuable thing was about Horus. And that is saying something.
Yeah, that too.
But seriously, this has to be a troll, right? This cannot be serious.
think he is actually serious. That's the sad thing, because that's just how the ideology... That's just how far leftist reasoning works. If you don't have any standards, if you deconstruct all the standards and include everything, then positions like the ones that we are complaining about right now are completely valid. They have to be valid. If you look, consider this. It's not really... Consider this. It's the exact same situation as some of the really messed up things that Vosh has said are just power grabs. To the point that Vosh has actively been quoted as saying that he believes that the truth about the Holocaust was just a power grab. That is something that he has openly said in debates. So...
And this person didn't get killed or something. But, look, seriously. If anyone says that today or any day, it is like asking someone to punch you.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I have a dark sense of humor.
But that is pushing it.
I can make fun of anything and everything. I can say any word I want and I don't care whoever is going to be offended. But there is a difference between being an asshole and making a joke and saying that the Holocaust was just a power grab.
The truth about it was just a power grab, which is Vosh's way of saying that if he believed it was ever politically convenient for him, he would quickly be a Holocaust denier because everything is just a power grab to him.
Well,
and that's what happens when you think that that truth is subjective.
Truth is not subjective.
I know.
It has never been.
But that's what Vosh thinks, and that's what people like the Templin Institute think. I mean, that is the core argument of the Templin Institute's position here, is that because some of the lore is subjective, therefore all the lore is subjective. The truth about the history of Warhammer 40K, in its entirety, has to be seen as subjective. That is the Templin Institute position. Ilya says, Vosh has suppressed you intellectually, Ace. Don't argue. Oh, yes. Speaking of which, hey, Uros, I think you're going to kick out of this. Vosh at one point actually tried to argue that H2O is not always water.
Excuse me?
Vosh tried to argue that H2O is not always water.
Just that
the way here's how he did it. He said, well, yeah, but if you go down south to Mexico, it's, and I quote, aqua, which is not even how you pronounce the word. It's agua, I'm pretty sure, right? Or no, it's...
Yes, it is agua.
Yeah. So he misspelled it. He mispronounced it. And then apparently he thinks water is not H2O in Mexico. Which, I mean, that's a pretty spicy thing to say about the quality of water there, but that's neither here nor there.
Did this man say this with a straight face?
Yes, he did. That was his serious argument.
I need to go and fix that. Look, that it is a different language doesn't mean it is not the same fucking thing.
The guy that he's debating had to explain to him, look, the Spanish word for water is agua, so it's still H2O. It is still made up of 2 hydrogen particles and 1 oxygen particle.
Look, do you know the meaning of snuggle struggle in English? I bet you do.
Sorry, I'm just...
No, I mean non-consensual engagement. You know what the word is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that word is a fish in Spanish?
It's what now?
It's a fish in Spanish.
Okay. So Vosh is going to argue that it's not that when it happens in Mexico.
If what you say is true,
I could totally see Vosh making that claim. That's the sad thing.
Look, I am not going to say anything else about this.
Alright, let's go ahead and clear our minds by actually reading something that is actually intelligently created rather than
She's a human life.
the explanation that we need female space marines, you know, and everything else that this guy's claimed. Just, let's move on.
Yes, please.
Alright, Star Wars Empire, issue number 10. Join the Alliance and fight the Empire. Alright, let me read some of the comments. Kules says, to be fair, TTS did made me feel bad for the guy after losing his lore. The guy wanted to vibes learn. Okay, so we'll not lie. He would not do it if he knew. But he kind of why Biggie. Okay. I think I might have misread that. Alright. Anyways, let's go ahead and continue, shall we?
Yeah.
A memorial service on the jungle moon Yavin 4. In wartime, such affairs are exceptional, lest every day be consumed in ceremonial mourning. But when a rebel leader like General Rune Sewell passes, the grief of those under his command must be given an outlet. It must be channeled, transformed into resolve rather than despair. Alright, do you want to voice this guy, or should I?
No, I can do it. General Sewell will not object to the tears I see among you today.
This duty falls this day to Sewell's successor, General Jan Dodana.
He was a man given to direct thought and use him to express emotion, whether delight or disappointment. This is hardly something I need to tell you. We all saw him in a rainbow of moods, as our struggle and his brought terrors and triumphs. Rune Sewell's early life prepared him well for struggle. How many of you knew he grew up fighting in the streets?
Dodana names the planet and the city, but few recognize them. Neither the shabby falling city nor the unremarkable planet ever played much role in the affairs of the galaxy, and Dodana could not know just what transpired there.
Want me to voice him too?
Yeah, go ahead. For Sewell kept his secrets and his shame to himself. The wisdom of the streets is paid for in pain. For Rune Sewell, a smart but undersized boy, it meant being fast on his feet and quick with his mouth. But sometimes speed fails, sometimes the mouth says the wrong thing. You think you can call me that, Sewell? Huh? I can't hear you. His tormentors pause, waiting for the boy's reply. If he pleads, his humiliation will be complete. If defiant, they will finish the job. It's like a dramatic moment in a play when a character shows what he's made of. But of course, we're all made of the same stuff. Flesh, bone, and blood. Cruel laughter can cut as sharp as any knife, but it is insignificant when real wounds scream to a brain. There's real danger here, bleeding. Death is a real possibility. He cannot move. Things are terribly wrong in his body. The pain of being left is almost as bad as the beating. He could die, and nobody would know. His life has meant nothing, he realizes, and now it may be over. It must not be. He will not let it be. He will not pass through this world without leaving his mark. I guess I could voice this character.
Yeah.
Oh, alright. You alive? The small, mangled creature has to be pried out of his hand.
I can do this one. It was a near thing. You replaced the bones that one night, as well as your spleen. I know you are in a lot of pain, but I've done all I can for you.
The healing pain has a warmth all on its own. It's a fire inside him. It illuminates his plans for the future. Clonk. What's that noise? Oh, alright, yeah, you go ahead.
What's that noise?
Well, look who it is.
Hey, back for more?
A play of emotion any actor would admire travels over Rune's face. Surprise, realization, horror, then defiance. He answers with an artfully chosen obscenity. Sorry, threw some gamer words at them. He tries not to think of what will happen if they catch him. But the images and the body memories come anyway. They lend power to his burning legs and lungs. He runs with knowledge. He has been here before. He knows where to lead them. He knows what to avoid. He has made preparations. Holy crap!
Holy shit! I thought he was going to beat them up or something.
I mean, to be fair, this is perfectly ordinary rebel behavior, but on the other hand,
well, I mean, I guess they almost killed him.
that is true.
But man, this is gruesome.
Yes, it is. Their screams are reassuringly faint. Only Runes hears them. The wind is knocked out of them, just as the life will be. And he covers and buries the thing!
Well, the kid has balls, if nothing else.
Yeah! Coolessa says, to be fair, they did break his back and teeth, so it's fitting punishment.
Look, I am all for revenge, but this is maybe a bit too much.
Yeah, this is pretty much. This exceeds what they did to him by a fair margin, I think. I'm just saying, but I will appreciate the ingenuity.
Yeah, the kid is resourceful, if nothing else.
Starting to see why he became a rebel commander, or how he became a rebel commander, anyways.
Well, they don't hide the fact that some of the rebels are straight-up terrorists.
Yeah. He walks unhurriedly, though it takes great effort. Sweat streaks his face. But this is good. It hides the tracks of tears, and the product of rage and fear, and of shame.
But you bodied 3 people for a fucking fight.
Yeah.
Well, what is done, I suppose.
I mean... it's only just 3 kids. What's done is done.
What else do you want me to say, man? The kid killed 3 other kids.
To be fair, I think at that point his career options are limited, and none of them are particularly good ones.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
But he did kind of choose to kill 3 kids, so that's kind of on him.
Yes. I mean, seeing what he has done, I bet he could have provided, no, I don't know, a less lethal solution that would have kicked their asses or something.
I mean, he could have done if he was going to do Home Alone shenanigans, there's plenty of non-lethal Home Alone shenanigans that he could have resorted to. But no.
We play games when I can kill a bitch.
Alright, well, let's go ahead and carry on, shall we?
Yeah. It's both very little of these days. I believe they were fine. Even say the ones that get involved with our theater. The effort of process in service agency, as I recall, that saved him from despair and early death. I believe he said he got involved hotly.
With the emotional rawness of the gathering, this slight humor brings a cleansing wash of laughter. Sewell would have loved it.
I mean, I think this is war. If you look at the line, there is no setup for a response. Say it slowly, like you're afraid to even tell me. That way, responsible. It's a whole large, a huge law. When you know anything, this is in that call reading. You're supposed to know this by now. I'm surrounded by people. By people with this rare special talent. We are here to create something for a fragile moment that touches people, that moves people, with no more than words and voices, and bodies, back, and bodies, and imagination. That's the only reason I demand so much. It's because I know the sublime alchemy of which we are capable.
Alright, let me read a comment here. Kulas says, what? Is he supposed to be on the good guy side? Wow, this comic is already better. Finally, the good guys are as bad as the Empire. This is rare in Star Wars media. Yeah, but like we said, it is kind of canon that there are some rebel groups that are willing to make the Geneva Convention into a massive checklist.
Look, there is a lot of lore that's exposed that neither side was good, which is what happens in most wars and regimes.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the movies are only going to show you the more interesting bits, and they are trying to find the good guys as the good guys. I mean, if we go back to the Republic, there was a lot of very bad shit on the side of the Republic.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we continue then?
Yep.
Okay. You, Master, you come over and stand next to Kir. Your character is proper. She has run these people together, feels responsible for their ending, and she's horrified by the unintentional insult of his fate. It's your tension that will serve this. No. What could you do?
Masla gives a nervous giggle at being placed on the spot.
Exactly. Perfect. We double the time of the permanent boss. Let the tension just torture us. And torture everyone. And you break it alone. Just like that. No. Let's try it like that. From your end.
The actors follow direction and all see what has happened. Out of a sequence of words which was wry enough when read, comes a moment of universal recognition, of a position in which every human has found himself, of conflict of spoken, psychic wounds fingered into fresh pain. Masla fell in love with him. Oh wait, which is because it is true. Which is somehow funny. Masla fell in love with him, then. And he suddenly felt taller, stronger, a vessel of power in a marvelous universe. The direction of life is determined at such moments.
You're also spot blissfully yesterday. Without his place, he was happy. But as many of you found in our lives, such happiness seldom escapes the thoughts of the Empire. If tyranny's skull grasp should tighten, what is left but to endure? One man or one woman, and rain of sand in that clammy cloud, a fellowship but misery. But if some strange fire shall fuse that sad company to last, then what new romance might oddly good and win release?
No insult is greater than interrupting an actor's performance. Losing concentration, falling out of character, these are calamities on stage. But Rune Sewell succumbs to neither of these. And instead invites a calamity of a different sort.
Out! Out! You cannot enter with proper respect. Who dares this? Who dares this? And is the disease which afflicts your brains treatable of hubbleness?
We represent the authority of the Empire. This enterprise is at an end. Evacuate the theater. It is to be razed immediately. Performers and associates will board the transport outside. Patrons must return promptly to their homes.
Well, this was quick and dry. On what grounds? This is a mistake and a farce.
Whereas said play is subversive, inflammatory, seditious, and hostile to the general peace, a said acting company is hereby dissolved, participants to be detained and questioned ere the building razed. All hail Emperor Palpatine.
You leafless list checkers! You stop in here, a place of creation, a place where beings with sweet and wit celebrate the march of life through the millennia, and you dare to call us subversive, what is universally considered a classic when hundreds years past. Spare me, you pusillanimous critics.
Blasters are raised, an ineloquent but vivid riposte.
No!
The chair is thrown. What hits the floor is charred chips and splinters. A chaos of deadly energies and frantic bodies erupts. Make-believe drama gives way to the gut-twisting real thing. He rushes to protect her, but a blaster bolt is too swift.
Masla, run!
Ah!
Masla.
It burns! A fortuitous collapse saves Rune Sewell's life, but it is too late for Masla. With the familiarity of 1,000 trips, Runes easily slips through the dark maze backstage. The cool night air stings his lungs. His ragged gasping hides the fact that he is the only one breathing. It's not difficult to escape into a district seemingly built with the logic of a briar patent. But still he runs an hour, living a nightmare of imagined pursuit, and only slowly does he let himself understand he is carrying a corpse. He watches the smoke climb toward the stars, thinking bitterly that it might have made a fitting pyre for Masla's body, or for his. As if to emphasize Rune's next immediate problem, scavengers sniff and skitter about. Today he has lost his dream, his love, his very identity. Life ahead is nothing but fear and pursuit. What had he done? His selfish grand gestures had killed Masla, had stolen his liberty. If only he'd gone meekly with his gift of gab, he could have slipped any snare they had waiting. The warrior who picks his battleground has the advantage. Knock, knock. I guess I can voice this woman. Yes?
Man said to tell you, your water muscle is in the back of your land speeder.
Which way did he go? Quickly!
Down the street.
The vehicle has more power than it needs. The chain does not slow it at all, until all slack is spent. It ripped the engine out!
Quite literally. I have to admit that with this tech and that power, I thought the chain was not going to work.
Yeah, well, apparently it did, so... Maybe it's just that this particular land speeder is built the way the TIE fighters are.
A lot of speed and little else?
Yes. His plan has worked, but the job must be finished.
Perhaps this will give you some appreciation for the classics.
Pachoo! The sirens and shouting are a poor substitute for an audience's applause. Still, he takes satisfaction in them. The squealing of a loathsome beast.
It was me, no?
Yep.
Okay. Someone spoke of his day on the ground as desperate but intoxicating. He said that it's not freedom of possession. No, he said there is freedom in having possessions. No loved ones, expectations. But of course, the pinpricks he could think of him.
You might need to speak up there. You're coming in too quiet.
Okay. But of course, the pinpricks he could inflict on the Empire as alone agent, especially one still food and refuge every day and night, real inadequate. Ambition was as integral a part of a general's work as any organ or bone, and it demanded he join the larger effort, the nascent rebel alliance. They found him. All personnel to arms. The space fort is under attack.
There is nothing runes learned on stage like blood in generous quantities to incite emotion and to suspend critical thought.
Hurry! The rebels are landed by the spacecraft. Get them before they steal all of them. That's the last one. Fire.
A haughtiness has grown in Woon Surel. If asked, he might attribute it to Masla's murder. But in truth, it was there all along. Yes, it was.
It was very damn fucking clear. Sorry, Lieutenant. You don't kill the protagonist. Not in Act 2. Well, he also grew a lot cockier.
Yep.
General Sewell was a natural leader, decisive, audacious. He led a small party that stole some Imperial ships by impersonating Imperial officers. Imagine. He could sell the story so much better than I. Such flaws. He had us in hysterics, describing the obsequious haste which his secretary was executed. And not a drop of blood shed his war. Yeah, sure. we soon met much resistance on the ships. This must be nearly all of them. His only regret was missing the expression from the Israelis they had. Priceless, surely.
Rune Suel and his small cell of rebels depart his homeworld forever. They leave behind truths too painful to speak.
Ah, yes. War is terrible. It's a sweet relief when some... I also asked General Sewell why he was always so big, so full of humor. Surely he had moments of love. City. He told me it wasn't that, as a leader, he was obligated to instill a sense of adventure and fun in our enterprise. 1 second.
I think you got some more lines there.
Okay, I am back. Sorry for the delay. Where was I? I never knew. 8?
Sorry. It's the I never knew. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I never knew, therefore, how much of it was real, or how much was the actor's craft. But I have not told you how I met General Sewell, and therein lies a tale. You see, General Sewell saved my life. Oh, that is it.
Oh, that's the end of it.
Yeah, I thought there was more.
Yeah. I think today's a good stopping point, as weird as it sounds, because it is a cliffhanger, but well, that is the end of the issue, and anyway.
Yeah, this can be fun for next week.
Yep, or next time we cover this, anyways. So yeah, thoughts on this particular issue?
Well, this is, in a sense, more or less what will happen after the rebellion. I mean, we don't know how much the man truly knows. But it is obviously garnished with certain details, and some others have been taken away. Like, taking the ships with no bloodshed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is a good touch. It shows you that, obviously, the rebellion is not just, all is good and shit. It shows you that it has to get dirty, because otherwise they will die.
I think it is a pretty good comic. Well, I'm kind of having trouble understanding what you mean, though. I'll say that.
I mean, it shows you that even within the movement, they did some things that were, if nothing else, questionable.
Yep.
But they didn't sell it that way because, of course, even the people in the movement must not know. Otherwise, they might question if they are doing the right thing. No matter what the Empire is doing, they have to paint a prettier picture.
Yep. Yeah, it is interesting. It does provide some perspective. Ironically, for a comic that's about the Empire, and about the Empire being the villains, we're seeing the Jedi be not the Jedi, but the Rebellion being not exactly much better. That is an interesting thing. That said, the guy does have valid grievances. The fact that the Empire shut down his play and killed his sweetheart and tried to kill him over that. Yeah, that's a pretty severe case of tyranny.
Well, yeah. It is going to sound bad, but that is not the worst of it. Because you say that they wanted to close it down. What they wanted was to burn culture. They wanted to cancel it. You know what I mean. It was not, for him, they did kill his sweater. That is a good reason to personally fair attack. But in the bigger picture, they were trying to control everything. What can be said, what can be done. So technically speaking, yes, what he did is terrorist. But he had a good reason, so to speak.
Yeah, he did. He had a good reason for that. The killing of the 3 kids is...
that part has no excuse, okay?
Yeah, there's no excuse for that.
I mean, I dislike kids, but I am not going to kill them. Maybe.
Ultimately, I think this is, like I said, a pretty good comic. It shows the character being not necessarily likable, but in some cases you can understand some of the stuff he does. Can't really defend all of it, but you can at least understand it.
I mean, he's not shown exactly as a good person.
No, he is not.
But he's a good character. He's
an interesting character.
Has faults, as any good character is in a story.
Mm-hmm.
It's not perfect. Oh, he's not fucking perfect at all. But it shows that he has depths, not like others that they are as deep as a pool.
I will say this, he is infinitely more interesting than Ray.
Look, I don't say this often, okay? In fact, I am not going to say it ever again. But I will prefer Twilight over that shit. And Twilight is vomit.
Wait, you're saying that The Rise of Skywalker is not a better love story than Twilight?
No! That is so low, the bar is.
Ouch. Yeah, right. Well, anyways, I think, though, that is... Is there anything else more you want to add?
Well, I can't. I mean, we will need to see the second part, but that is for next time.
Yep. I think this is a good time to go ahead and call it. But yeah, it is leave a good little cliffhanger for next time. That is for definitely sure. So I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that. But of course, until then, this has been Ace.
This has been Flores.
And we both hope to see you again soon. Oris, I have, of course, once again, pleasure having you on.
Same.
And yeah, in any case, though, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care.